I'm really excited to speak with you about the danger of promotional positivity. This is something that I've been noticing for quite some time. Folks are posting a lot of memes and a lot of things on social media. And somebody who I really enjoy and I respect, named Gary Vaynerchuk, he posted something recently about 2023 is going to be the year that more people are going to wake up to the responsibilities of speaking louder about positivity. Positivity that's grounded in practicality. The loud negative have had a good run, but he's a believer that people are tired of their shit. And in 2023, it's going to be a turning point year. And I agree with this very much. I think 2023 is going to prove to be a time where what has been working for messengers over the past couple of years since the beginning of COVID, there's been a lot of chaos. People have been introduced to the online space in a way that they had never been before COVID. Previously, back when I started online in end of 2014, beginning of 2015, it was a time when podcasts were taking off. They had been steadily growing for many years, and they started becoming more of a mainstream term. And a lot of things became more mainstream, social media in general, and marketing became huge in social media. And when COVID hit, everyone was sort of jolted into this new world where being online was no longer an option. People had to adapt to Zoom and to doing things differently than they ever had before. And over these last couple of years, people are getting more and more comfortable with the idea that if they have something to say, there's a whole world out there that's willing to listen. And throughout this time, there's a lot of different perspectives being shared, and things have been getting louder and louder. And there's been a lot of anger and a lot of hate and a lot of division and a lot of bandwagon jumping. And so, what's been going on, as I've noticed over the last year, is that people are sharing a lot more clips and memes and comments about staying positive. And so I thought it would be a great time to hop on the mic and discuss what is this? Because the danger that I see of what I refer to as promotional positivity is that there is a huge disconnect for people between what they say and what they believe. And so the more we talk about being positive and just think positive and happy go lucky sayings and things like this, I think it's dangerous because it actually masks how people are really feeling more than anything ever has before. And it is a time where definitely positivity is needed, but it's my belief that when we think about positivity, we need to look at it from a place of understanding opposed to just regurgitating. And so, with that, as I mentioned earlier, if you are here in studio, go ahead and hit the request to speak button if you have anything to say on this topic, or you want to dialogue with me, you want to ask any questions, you want to share any thoughts. I'd love to have you join. So when you have something that is hurting or something is bothering you, or you're in a crisis, or you're struggling, it's become very interesting, where there's a lot of people saying, hey, I'm here to help, and hey, if you need something, just say so. And the more that I notice those messages going out, the more I notice people are actually hiding what their true feelings are. And I think this is really important to dialogue about, and to be able to say, hey, I want to stay positive, but I'm really going through some stuff right now, and I'd like to speak honestly. And a lot of times when people want to speak honestly about how they're feeling, Others want to jump in and say, oh no, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Just buck up, just smile, just, remember these quotes and these mantras. And they like to share all of that. And so I love how, everybody's coming in. Ben, Sonia, Marlita, nice to see you. Um, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this promotional positivity and how you feel about reading it, seeing it, sharing it versus perhaps some things that are more, quote, negative or um, honest. I think it's really important that we're honest. So if there's anyone who wants to say anything, I'd love to see something in the Q&A or invite you onto the mic, even to ask me a question and get me going on any specific points. I had a lot to say earlier, and the day's gone on. I'm getting a little tired. I'm not gonna lie. So, um, yeah, feel free to jump in and we can dialogue or text something, and I'm happy to address that. Um, One thing that I've noticed about the messaging that we're seeing versus the beingness that we're seeing is there's a lot of disconnect, as mentioned, between what people are saying and what people are doing. And so if you remember back, if you're old enough to remember back to when the World Trade Center was hit, the Trade Towers and 9/11, um, the country, the US really banded together and people were more conscientious about who's next door and listening and loving. And then with COVID, with all of the things that were going on, it was a really scary time for most people, dare I say everyone, of not knowing what to think, what to do, who to listen to, who to trust. And at that time, back in the early 2020, I did an interview with a friend of mine, Chris Brogan, and we talked about this. And I really, really believed that it was going to be a turning point for America, where people were going to stay more conscientious about their space and themselves and care more about what's going on in their neighborhoods and their communities. And I was wrong. I was super wrong. um, I think that since that time, as people have become less and less, well, more and more desensitized, let's say, people have really forgotten what it's like to honor their neighbor and to be concerned about how are people feeling. And so if you are someone who is in the public eye who wants to be in the public eye, I think that it's a great opportunity right now to be honest and to be uplifting. And there's a little bit of a difference there between uplifting. Thank you. A little bit of a difference between being uplifting and being positive. And so, from my estimation, uplifting is where we take some time to really assess how we're feeling, what's going on for us and for the people that we are aware of. And uplifting is to come from a place, again, of understanding, really understanding and asking, hey, what's going on for you? Or sending out messages. This is something Gary Vee just recently posted about as well, that, he likes to just send hearts or a little check-in or just a little message like, hey, you're doing great, keep it up, I see you working. And this is something I've always subscribed to and do on a very regular basis. Oftentimes we don't get responses or feedback from that. It's almost like if you give somebody a pat on the back, they're just either unaware because they're not checking in, or they are um, coming from a place of, I don't really know what the word is right now. Dismissive might be the wrong word, but it's something that I think is important to not just be positive, but to be aware and appreciative. Appreciating is really important. You can appreciate the person at the grocery store who bagged your groceries. And if they're wearing a name tag, thank them by name. look people in the eyes and really honor and respect the people who are showing up no matter what's going on in their lives, you know? And we never know what somebody else is going through. We never know what hell they're dealing with, but guaranteed everybody in America and beyond right now is dealing with something. And so, yeah, I love you guys so much. I love having you here. And yeah, I really would love to invite you to come up. I know I already did that, but that's just what I'm really feeling called to do. So I'm going to now shut my mouth and wait and see who wants to talk about this, who wants to share an observation that they have about messaging in general, or that they have about that they've noticed about just day to day life, and where they're seeing maybe opportunities that we can all be more aware of to share love and compassion and humanity, versus just, a little like, hey, buck up, and it's all going to be okay. Thank you so much for joining me, Sonia. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this.
Oh, I love the whole idea of everything. And 2000, why not, right? It's time, you know?
Yeah.
And
So have you noticed anything that sort of looks really positive but isn't necessarily energetically uplifting to you? Anything you'd like to speak on?
I love the word uplifting, you know? And it has to do with also, in many ways, inspires you, right? In terms of, the way you think, right? Because if it like lifts, it's going to the directions that you want to go, right?
Yeah.
And I, positive, negative, it is, and it brings your moral and all of these things into being, right? Whereas uplifting, it's a different kind of, if you're gonna take the word for it, right? But that's how I see it. I, yeah, I mean, like it's based on our, our background, right? In
Yeah,
terms of what you judge as positivity and negativity, all of these things, right? So, but if
absolutely.
you can see things for the way they are, which is like all of these are the things that makes you feel, right?
Yes,
Whether it's
yes, I love it.
negative or positive, and if you can see beyond, well, not in as is, and still be awesome at it and be in good with all the things around you, right?
Yeah,
So that kind of thing, then and it takes a little doing in your inner work, right?
yeah,
And to be like that, and what an awesome exploration, though. This is what I've spent my past couple of years in, right? Understanding how we work as, you know we don't have a manual for ourselves, right?
right, right, exactly, right. We're all figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, so if there is some, I, of course, been inspired by a lot of people that came into my life, especially, when I went through a time in my life. Of course, everybody has that big, huge change in their life, right? And so you go into this question of everything, right? And that's when things, when you start to seek things. And I think this is at the age where people have to say, okay, do I want the continuing of what's being out there in the media, and or do I do something different and something that will benefit everyone, rather than go along with whatever it is that makes you so draws you to emotion. I don't watch TVs anymore because you know uh, people are trying to get your attention in many ways, right? And most of the time steer your emotions. And I was talking to someone that I don't give people that privilege to control how I
Oh,
feel,
I
you know
love that.
and
Yeah, and I just want to hold on right there for a moment. I love what you said. I don't give people that privilege to control. I love that. And I think that's so important to remember, that we each give people permission to to um yeah, like, we give people permission by what we subscribe to, whether that's watching media on the television, reading something, watching social media, the shows that we tune into here, even on Fireside. And I know you've got a show and you're so, you're a ball of light. It's like when others are feeling down, you are somebody who does uplift. And can you share a little bit about how you figured that out, how you came to, regardless of what was going on in your life, what you were going through, how are you able to still hold space and appreciate others and share wisdom from your own life and experiences with people who are struggling? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, the I had like, for me, what changed me the most was, I had a relationship breakdown that really, of course, your first love and everything, 14 years together, and it just like devastated me, right? And I was like spent last 3 years going getting to the place where I am now, right? And it wasn't a fast kind of thing, right? So it took me a few years to come out of that. And but once you do, like I've done, yoga, and of course with yoga there's everything that's involved, and that's working from the inner being, right? And it is, I, of course, came to know Sadhguru as well, right? And he, of course, talks about inner engineering. And so was what my path was, understanding who I am and really engineering myself from the inside out. And so when everything that happens around me, good, bad, all of those things, it doesn't touch me in in such a way that I can see things where they are and decide on how I'm gonna approach that scenario or how I'm gonna react, right? This is where he brings you into that bliss at the same time, where you can also then begin to help other people because you are healing from the inside out, right? So,
Yeah,
and
I love
the
that.
conscious evolution was what came out of all of that, right? Because once you are aware of all of these things, and I don't know if you have to go through those experience that I did, but it was the painful time, but I was trying everything to come out of it, right? And come out of it quick because I didn't want to spend that much time, I'm never the one to feel sorry for myself so long, right?
Right. And I think that's an important thing too to mention is that we all do go through pain. We all go through crisis. We all go through pain. And the longer we just put on a smiling face and whether it's promotional positivity or false positivity or whatever it is, as long as we're putting out that face, because people don't want to see pain. They don't want to be in pain, but they get triggered oftentimes when they see others in pain. And this is absolutely the inner work, as you're talking about. What we have to do for ourselves is recognize that just because we are experiencing pain and going through an emotional time, it number one, it's temporary. We all know that. If we're honest with ourselves, it's always temporary. There's always going to be an upside to everything. And I think one of the fastest things we can do is, like you said, just really recognize it's an is. Anything that is is difficult in the moment, we can continue the story of focusing on what's difficult or what's bad, or we can become aware that it was painful, and even if it still is painful, it's also temporary. And the sooner we can recognize that and then look with hindsight where it's 2020 and say, I went through that and I don't have to be there anymore. I get to choose how I see things now, so I can carry that feeling of depression or dismay or pain. I can carry that on and on and on but I don't have to. And even just day to day, one of the things I do early in the day when I get up is I just check in with myself and say, how do I want to feel today? What would I like to experience today? And not get so granular that we're, plugging in the day and saying, okay, first I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, because that's just going through motions. But we need to get into the emotion of understanding what is it I want to feel. Not only like how do I feel right now, but what is it that I want to feel? Because when we are aware, this is what I want. I want to feel good. I want to feel safe. I want to feel loved. Then we can say, okay, what is the evidence surrounding me right now that shows me I am safe? And guarantee every time you decide, I want X, you will be able to find the evidence in Y. Is not Y, WHY, but Y, like X and Y. Because, if you're feeling unloved, for example, going through a breakup or losing a partner or anything that triggers that sadness and that hurt. And it's very easy when we're in a sad and hurt place to say, I am sad and everything is gloomy and everything is hurting right now. That's the easy way because we're conditioned to behave or to feel like that. But if we decide, okay, I don't feel like I'm being loved right now. And that's what hurts. So, what do I want to feel? I want to feel loved. Okay. Is it true that I really am not loved? Or is it true that I do experience love? And from that perspective of recognizing, okay, I have, for me, I have a cat and I know that my cat loves me. And sometimes it's just that, just really focusing on that which I know exists. I know my cat loves me, even if it's only because I feed him, but I know it's more than that, right? What is it that what is it that I want? I want to feel loved. Okay, where's the evidence in my life right now? And you'll find it. If you just say, I'm not loved because XYZ happened, this thing, this experience happened, we can easily focus on that and say, I don't have love. But if we're honest, we can look to a friend or look to anyone, anything that gives us an experience of love. And sometimes it's easy as getting off the couch and going out and even again going to a grocery store and getting a thing. And even if you don't have to buy anything, just getting a thing and allowing yourself to feel appreciation of others. And when you show appreciation to others, you receive appreciation back. It's just natural. If somebody can't appreciate you, if somebody isn't able or willing to recognize that, it's definitely something that you can then go, huh, I wonder what that person is feeling right now because I know they want to feel love too. I know they want to feel appreciated. I know that they would appreciate if they could right now. And then that gives us that perspective of maybe we need to show more love to, even if not them, but maybe go on to the next thing, go get gas. And, maybe the person at the gas station would love to feel appreciated or love. And just again, using their name, looking at them in the eye, just mentioning what a beautiful day it is or something. We can always find something to appreciate. And the more we appreciate, the more we show appreciation to others, the more we demonstrate appreciation of and for others, the easier it is to receive that back. And it can be very difficult, but it is something that the more we do the inner work, whether it is going to yoga or finding someone to talk with that is not in a space where they are not able to find what they appreciate or love, you know, it's you just keep trying. You just don't give up, right?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it is everybody's journey, and how bad do you want things, coming into your life? Because um, for me, it's, yeah, I mean, all of those things that you mentioned initially, but that's also a surface thing, right? It's just temporary, makes you feel better, but it does whole. So if you want to look deeper and become a limitless being in many ways, right? Because you are delving into the different dimensions of you, which you have access to. And this is, I know, going beyond something beyond what we're discussing here, but it's something that my journey has taken me. So I'm so appreciative of all of that. I mean, I did all the things that you said, it did temporarily fix things for me while I was exploring other, areas of me, right? And how awesome is then I came to appreciate everything and everyone around me, and I'm just so grateful for that. And you mentioned, how do I give energies to other people too? Well, the everything, like the love that I have, is inside me already, and so I just need to access it, right? Because you didn't allow, or I didn't allow myself to understand that I am love and I don't need anything else. But what I can do, of course, just by being me, I also affect the people around me as well. That's the power of the inner working of you, right? So
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. When do you use social media, Sonia?
I do marketing.
Yeah, awesome. So, what is your take on this as far as do you, when I talk about this, promotional positivity versus the authentic understanding and appreciation and sharing that, do you have any sense as a marketing professional, like how do you exude what you know opposed to just regurgitating, things that other people have said?
Yeah, this is okay. So, in terms of authenticity, this is the word that goes around in not only, of social media and, of course, everything that we hear, right? It's like coming, I think in many ways, people are saying, okay, I don't want any more of those things that are being fed into the media and stuff like that. I want a real person. And that's why when you see such thing as, if you can look at TikTok and all of these things, or the YouTube and the lives and stuff like that, people are responding to the live reactions, although some of them may be outright, kind of like blatant, whatever it is. But then, there's something that inside you that is attracted to that, right? So something that you have to look for, because it is a reflection, right, what you are drawn to. And so when you can look deeper in that sense, then you can also understand who you are, and as you are going through, and as a marketing professional, how I tend to, like, you can go for or against, right? And positive is for, right? And negative, these are the two emotion that is the strongest, right? So if you can, either rally people in a more positive way, or do it on the other side, where you're taking against and going after what is that's very touchy in the public today, right? This is how you, like, in terms of emotion, inspire people to action, as you say. You can do it either way, right? Positive, negative. And
So
so,
I'm gonna ask you about a particular topic, and if you're not comfortable with this,
sure.
absolutely tell me no, thank you. Um, but I believe you are an Asian American, is that right?
I am Asian Canadian, yes.
Asian Canadian. Ah, okay. I'm Canadian too, actually.
Yeah.
Um, so did you experience in the States, it was very rampant. I'm not sure what the experience was like for you in Canada, but during the time I mean, there's hate always and everywhere. But did you find at any point over these last years a time where your community and you personally felt attacked for who you are? Um, and if so, how did you stay positive and share from a place of love and being the example rather than um, jumping on bandwagons? Is that something that we can discuss?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like for myself, I don't ex I didn't experience so much of the racism kind of feel. I've been fortunate that way, maybe because we're Canadians. I don't know.
I
You
do
know what I
know
mean?
what you mean. I'm very blessed to be a dual citizen between the U.S. and Canada. So I've been very fortunate and really enjoyed experiencing these last years in both countries, and it's been very interesting. So yeah, if there's anything you want to share, go for it. And even if like I'm tipping you off to something else you want to talk on, go for it. And of course, if anybody else wants to join the conversation, feel free to hit that button as well.
Yeah. I mean, racism is I haven't been made to feel like I have to defend myself, in such a way in terms of race, right? I always think of myself as,
You're
I don't think of myself as Asian or anything like that,
you're
even though
human,
the
right?
image, yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays, like when I was growing up, of course, we're different, right? Because you know how kids are different too, how they behave. But in this case, I happen to be in a school where the teachers are a little more supportive back then, right? And I'm 52 now, right? So yeah, I remember those, like you mentioned, how the times when people fight for things, right? And I grew up in those times, and of course, all these other things that were happening, of course, I can remember not only what's been told on the Vietnam War, and all of these movement that were happening in the 70s and the 80s, right? Now we don't see that as much, but we do see it in the sense it is social media, right? And if you can see all the news when you turn it on, it's all about all of those things, but in a different form of war, right? And if you can look at that way, but so yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate, I must say, to not to have experienced that kind of thing. And I mean, uh, when you go and when people look at you a little more differently, then yes, I mean, but I never let that bother me
Mhm.
because, you know, like
You know who
I
you
have
are.
always, yeah, because I take it, and there's always people that are like in the other side of things where they will defend you and understand you that way, right? And so positive, negative, there's a balance in my life, I gone through, no, I can't say I experienced a total racism kind of experience, but it's been like for growing up, it's been looking back for me is a great memory, right? I mean, yes, we were separated. There's five girls in my family, right? And so we were the first whole class in that you know grade school, right? And so that's what make up our ESL. So we were the first kind of class of ESL for that school. So yeah, and of course, as we grew up, we came to know more people like we flee the country, right? And it's as a refugee, I came to Thailand first, and my whole family. Of course, my dad took, the communists came into Laos. That's where I was born, and so my dad was gonna be sent to concentration camp, but my dad couldn't, think about like five girls, and of course my mom raising the five girls by herself, right? And so his friends tipped him off before they came in and get him the night before. So we left with nothing, and you know, yeah, dad just took us and just we crossed the Mekong River into the Thai refugee camp at that time. So
Wow.
and yeah, so it's been like for me, you know, I have always admired my dad because of his bravery, and to this day, he has been my kind of the person that gives an example for you, right?
Oh, that's
In terms
so
of
beautiful.
leadership, and he's like building churches, building communities, and so I've, you know, I really admire that characteristic, and it inspires me to what I'm doing today. I mean, and of course with all the my experiences as well, so it kind of combines and made me kind of
Oh my God.
understanding who I am becoming, right? So
Sonia, I love you so much. I'm just gonna, since there's no way to connect on Fireside, I'm gonna invite you if you'd like afterwards to on the if you go to contact.growthseekerswelcome.com. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to continue the conversation with you offline because you just sound like such an incredible, incredible human being with such a beautiful story to tell.
thank you.
Yeah.
I looked you up, you cynical. This is part of what we do.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to highlight too something you said. I don't feel as if I've had to defend myself. And I think that is such a key thing. I think that in this time, so as Gary V, talks about speaking louder about positivity, I think that that in and of itself is something worth sharing, is for anybody just recognizing that you don't have to defend yourself because there's always going to be people that are willing to attack and want to lean into the negative and want to lean into blame and shame and whatever for anything. Doesn't have to be race, it could be anything these days. And just by saying, I don't feel as if I have to defend myself because I know it's not about me. I know who I am and I know that I'm love. And that is how I live. I live for growth and I live to be. And as an example, that was passed down through my lineage. My father demonstrated the way, and it was never something that I ever questioned. I appreciated what he did and I respected him because of who he is, and he gave me such a great example that defending myself has just never been an issue. And, if you, person who is reading this, would like to learn more about how to feel good and not have to defend yourself against others, catch up with me because this is who I am. I think that to me, this is what Gary Vee is really talking about. And that's the authentic truth. That's the positivity of radiating out what is inside. So no matter what what crisis or what challenges you're facing in life, by just being able to, for lack of a better term, as a fellow marketer and publicist, spinning it to say we don't need to go negative. There's no reason to defend. There's no reason to fight against when we know who we are and we just are. And hey, come join the conversation. Come join the party because it's all good over here. There is nothing that needs to be defended. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Well said.
Thank you. Awesome. I'm so appreciative
I,
of you
I
joining
love,
this
you
conversation.
know, coming to see and chat with you, so it's kind of nice. But of course, you know, I wish we have more. So I'll be in touch with you on the back there, as person.
Absolutely. We should plan a show together, figure out what we
Yeah,
want to talk about
definitely.
and
Yeah.
yeah, yay.
Yay.
Good
Yeah,
times.
I'm launching a new series. It's all about love. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
let's do one of the. I'm gonna give you a key to pick to unlock. Okay. So
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah. We start January 5th, so we'll go weekly on Thursday evenings, 6 p.m. PST. So
Perfect. And here on Fireside, yeah?
yes, yes, yeah.
Sweet.
My friends, and of course, you know, I mentioned how I got involved in yoga, and you know, it's through this group that helped me, right? And at the same time learn about business and marketing, right? And so I've been really grateful to them. I don't know if you ever heard of, or you go to Clubhouse, or any of the YouTube things, Master Sri Akashna. I started with him in the law of attraction because, it's interesting. My journey is take a little bit of an interesting turn, right, throughout all of these as I learn to and then discover more about myself. Like I think this applies to me because, as the student is ready, the teacher appear, right? And I feel
Absolutely.
that's what happened to me in my exploration of going to understand who I am, right?
Beautiful. And then you get to be the teacher for the next, and they for the next, and they for the next. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't say I'm a teacher. I'm more like I'm just sharing what I've learned as well, and hopefully inspires you to explore and understand yourself, right? As who you are and who can you really are. I mean, the potential of human being as a human being is such an awesome thing. Just open yourself up to explore this, in infinite being, right? That's
Yes.
inside you, and whatever you call as divine and all of these things, it's it's inside you. So discover that, and you'll find that there is no limits on what we can do, and in the end we're all, like, I know there's popular saying we are one, but once you understand that, I think it's, and yeah, I
Everything
mean,
else is easy, right?
yeah.
And so, Sonia, if you don't mind, I'm going to reflect to you that I see you as a teacher. I feel that you've taught me this evening, and also I imagine that the others in here also learned from you. And so um, I think, too, that's a part of the process of becoming a messenger and becoming a leader and spreading that, you have the desire to inspire others, but it's not a desire to inspire others because you want to be, seen as, oh, you're so special. But it's a true desire to pass on what you've learned. And I think anytime we are coming from that place of authentic leadership, it's not something that we can fake. There's all these people out there that want to teach you, here's how to be authentic, here's how to be an authentic leader. But the truth is, the authentic leader is the one who is not seeking to be a leader, the one who is doing the work, the one who is being that which they believe to be, on their higher consciousness, or self-actualization journey. We are all teachers, whether we're intending to be or not. There are always those others who are learning from us, whether they are our children or our neighbors or our family or our friends or professionally. We are always teaching. And it's when we decide to take that time and become better for ourselves, better versions of ourselves. We become more actualized. We understand that oneness, that there's no separation really. That is really, really, that is the work. And that is when we share that, we inspire others naturally without effort. And that makes us the best kind of teacher, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm learning from you and always learning, because if you always like take in position of you don't know, then you're always seeking, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of like my kind of journey, right? Always understand until that time. You can never know totally unless
Yeah. And that's the end, right? It's like if you ever reach
Yeah.
that point where it's like, I know it all. Okay, done.
Yeah, exactly. And why would you want to know at all? Then you'll be like,
Right.
what's next, right?
Right, right. It's like life is this wonderful journey. And also I want to speak just to my personal opinion, because this is actually something right before I hopped up here on the mic. I was sitting outside, and just the weather, it was been quite cold lately, and it's just such a beautiful evening where I'm at. And I was sitting out there and really appreciating and really, for quite some time, as I've been in the online and social media world for a while, um, I sat there and just really recognized how much I appreciate Fireside and why. And so I also recognize that I'm ready for in 2023 to no longer be a part of the mass media, social media platforms. And so when Clubhouse came out, many of my colleagues, I mean, all of my colleagues, went over there. And I used to really, my, the people I surrounded myself with for many years were those quote influencers and folks at the front of social media and these different types of platforms. And for me, I was being invited to Clubhouse and, before when you had to be like invited and all that stuff. And I hopped in there one time and I went, whoop, nope, not for me. That's just me. Everybody, I have nothing against it. But for me personally, in my journey, what for me, authenticity and peace and joy and ease and flow, those are the things that I value. And so, one of the things I really like about Fireside is, at least as of right now, it's not a popular medium. And there's always people coming and joining, but I really advocate to folks who are wanting to make a bigger impact and make a difference to find those platforms that are not popular, because the popular ones are the ones where you've got to go 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 and do, and you got like there's a million things going on, people are in and out, and it's like you have to be popular in order to gain traction. And to me, that's completely the opposite of who I am. I know how to do it, and I did it for a while, and it really caused me to recognize I needed to go within and tune out. And so I took off for a few years and just decided like this is not the right environment for me. And I was looking at a number of different apps today and going, oh my gosh, I don't want to be there. And again, no offense to anybody who is loving TikTok and Clubhouse and YouTube and all the busyness of Facebook and so on. It's good if you're happy with it. It's good. And if you aren't happy with it, if you are feeling anxiety, if you are feeling stress, if you are feeling like you have to work to keep up or to manage, then it's really nice to find those platforms that give you the ability to share your voice without all of the drama. And so I love Fireside for that purpose. Like getting to see, you've been on a number of my broadcasts. Marlita has, Milana has, and Raquel, thank you for being here. Elizabeth, thank you for being here. It's like I love that we get to see who's here, who's showing up, and we get to open the mic and we get to have dialogue amongst ourselves, and that to me is everything. I personally would far rather have a handful of people that I engage with enjoyably than have thousands and thousands of people who quote watch me or follow me or are fans of me who never actually engage. Like to me that just feels so energetically draining. Whereas being on a smaller platform, it allows me to really be authentically who I am and not feel pressure from anything or anyone to be anything that I am not. So I don't know if that is helpful for anyone, but I hope it is. and so also I was speaking with someone earlier this evening, and we were talking about um, I years ago I had done a what's called a summit. So back in 2015, I put together an online event and invited many very successful entrepreneurs about different marketing topics. And it was at the time where that was a novel thing, right? It was not common to have an online summit and to be able just to tune in and learn from 30 different professionals about, like, a deeply learn about 30 different social media marketing channels and how to get traction on those as who you are. Um, and it was lovely. Um, and at that time, I was really enjoying teaching about that easy, simple flow. And over time, that easy, simple flow just became very heavy and very expectant, and people rushing about and saying, "Here, I'll help you. Here's how much to pay," and yada yada. And I just decided to tune out from that. And so I recently did, I think it was just a few days ago, actually, I did a broadcast here on Fireside about easy passive income. And from that, I created a workshop. It's just $27 for people who are not yet in the busyness of busyness, and who just want to easily take their ideas and their things, their hobbies, and they're not they're not attached to what happens, but they're just like, hey, it would be fun to share this. So next Thursday, actually a week from now, I'm going to be teaching it, and it's $27 for the workshop. And it's just we're going to literally create an online course product together easily without all of the chaos. And that, to me, is where my intentions are, is to connect with people who are not looking to get into the busyness of busyness, and have to speak loud and have to, effort and throw their money into the ring and yada yada. It really can be just so gentle, and I believe that that's where we're going in 2023 and beyond. It's that easier, softer, gentler nature that will actually be rewarded, opposed to what has been rewarded over this past decade of the loud and the grind, the push, the get out there in front and be seen and be heard. And it's not something that is sustainable. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. And what time is it on? I gotta,
Oh,
you gotta send me a link so I can spread the word as
oh,
well.
thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, it's if anybody wants to go through it, I'd say first listen to the episode to make sure it's what you want. So that is easy passive income. It's in my series on meaningful messengers. And then the link to sign up for the workshop, I believe it's at noon Eastern, so 9 a.m. Pacific. That is SCC. That stands for Simple Course Creation, SCC dot growthseekerswelcome.com. And there's just a simple sign up page there, and that's it. And then we're going to get to work next Thursday creating whatever. We're going to create a course from a simple idea. We're going to get it done during the workshop, and maybe after a little bit of time after. But it's just, again, it's just that ease, that flow. And I'm going to help people to understand, okay, here's how we can sell it, and then that's the foundation to build upon. And so it's not something that, like, a lot of people want to go, all right, let me go to the most popular person and buy their course and learn this thing, but then they have all this work to do and all these things to buy, and it's overwhelming. And so I just don't do it that way. So it's just really going to be a natural, easy flow, and we're going to have a sellable online course product that's of value to people. And once you make that first dollar online, everything else is so easy. So if you expect to be an influencer and an overnight, guru with thousands and thousands of dollars, it's definitely, definitely not for you. But if you are somebody who thinks, you know what, it would be fun to do something, to share some of my gifts, and the great thing is my system is just completely repeatable. So once you've done it once, you can, like, literally plug things in. And the bigger picture of where that's going is so that's the $27 workshop is just for that first piece of creating the course. And then later on, we'll be creating a book from the course, and then, podcast from the course or broadcast, whatever you want. But it's all, everything builds on the foundation, just like a house, right? When you're going to build a house, you don't put up the the walls and then start decorating them, and like one big wind, the whole thing is going to knock over. You got to have that foundation, and from the foundation then you can build upon and build upon over time. And that's what really builds a sustainable, simple, passive income stream, that is, yeah, easy.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the Wisdom app?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, this is like an like a two-person. It's like a podcast, right? It is a lot
Mm.
meant for podcasts, and you can download your stuff and it kind of remix it to into your podcast thing, right? And so I would love to have a chat with you there before your workshop if you have
Shoot me
some
that
time.
message. Yeah, yeah. Just contact dot growthseekerswelcome.com. Shoot me a message and let me know what you want to do, and then we can get
Yeah,
on the horn and have a
because I
one-on-one
think there's a
conversation.
lot of people that will benefit from this, Nicole. So I think
Thank you.
we should like pair up. I do something similar coming up, but it's done in a different scale as well. So um, yeah, we'll definitely chat on the back there. And I know
Thank
I
you
can
so
look you up anywhere, right? I Google you.
Yeah, I'm removing myself mostly from socials, but yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Sonia. I appreciate this conversation so much, and
No,
your
I
sharing
appreciate
and your
you and what you're
kindness.
doing. It's like it's
Likewise.
wonderful. And
Thank
so
you.
we in terms of if we're gonna uplift people, this is one of the ways because we like, people after they take care of their basic needs, which is like, whatever, rent, mortgage and all of these things, right? Food, then people can then focus more on themselves, right? And this is the intent of all of these things when I'm setting up these kind of things as well. But
I
I
love
would
that.
love to be able to bring you to like, especially when you're starting at $27, right? Who wouldn't do that? Just so you can whet your interest and see this is where what direction you want to go, right?
Yeah,
And
and to be honest, because like, we're having a one-on-one conversation here. So Elizabeth and Marlita, Milana, thank you for being here. And again, feel free if you guys want to jump onto the mic too. You let us know, or if you want to hit anything in the Q&A. But just a little bit about me is that um, I am working more with with high level corporate executives looking to leave corporate, and we work on their legacy business and things like that. And so that's really where my time is spent more and where my energy is spent more. And so I in my heart, like my purpose, my life purpose is elevating consciousness and eradicating poverty. And so I don't plan on making it more than $27 because I know that, like you said, you have to meet your basic needs, and there's a lot of people struggling out there, and it doesn't have to be that hard. And so it's for me such an opportunity and such a joy to share high level knowledge with folks who would not otherwise be able to get this. And again, there are so many things that we can do. There's so many apps and so many systems and all the stuff, but it's possible to do it at no cost as well. And so for me, that is really something that has been on my heart and has always been on my heart. But a lot of people over these past years are really tuning into the loudest message and the fear, right? As influence and persuasion. It's leveraging psychological
Mhm.
tricks is the wrong word, but it's really feeding off of people's fear, and it's disgusting to me. And so that's why, I'm just, if somebody let me know they wanted to do it, and I said, all right, and that's why I say all the time, contact contact.growthseekerswelcome.com. Anybody who contacts me and says, hey, this is what I want, can you help me? If I can help, it's like, absolutely. Because I just believe that there are so many people wanting and being and who are willing to do the work, but don't necessarily have the means or um, the ability. And so, even if somebody doesn't have $27, if somebody's serious about doing the work, I mean, I've granted scholarships to people who, in programs that I charged many thousands of dollars for in the past. And when they show up and do the work, it changes their life. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help empower people to recognize you didn't just get the short end of the stick, and it's not the way it's always going to be unless you choose for it to be. But when there's a will, there's always a way. And as you said before, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so for me, I'm not doing that for an income for myself. I've got that squared away somewhere else. For me, this is my joy.
That's so awesome. That is so awesome. And do you know that you can put your link on this
I do.
podcast?
That's just effortful. Yeah. I'm like, I guess I guess the fortune cookie. Yeah.
Just for us to access you a little
Well, thank you.
faster
That's
too.
that's smart. All right. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that another next time.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank you.
so much.
No, thank you. And
Yes,
I will be in touch on the back channel there.
that sounds
And
perfect.
yeah, it's so nice to meet you and chat with you.
You too,
And
Sonia.
yeah, I think we have the same common goal. So there we
No
go.
doubt, no doubt. I think, like again, like you said, we are all one, and so like speaks to like, and so when, again, I calling out Marlita and you and Elizabeth and Milana and Karen, thanks for joining us. But the people who stick around, for me, and Brian just joined us. I haven't seen Brian in a while, so yeah, like for me, I'll come on every day all day when there's one or two people who say, "Hey, I appreciate you." To me, that's everything. And I appreciate you, Sonia and Brian and Karen and Marlita and Elizabeth and Milana, because you're here. And to me, I don't take that lightly. I know that time is precious, and it fills me up. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for